think I think that a lot of people though are wondering because of fear if there really is an opportunity waiting for them. Because sometimes we just it's tough to see potentially something that can change your life, even if it's right in front of you. So how what are some of the steps that people can take to even just move in that direction?
Well, I would recommend, and I hadn't planned on this, but I have this as well. I have a book that came out in 2011 called Outwitting the Devil that was originally written by Napoleon Hill in 1938. And it was intended to be the sequel to the ever popular Think and Grow Rich. But his wife was afraid of the title and she forbid it to be published. And it was hidden away for 73 years. And I think there was a greater power at work because when we brought it out in 2011, we were still trying to recover from the economic downturn of '08 and '09. But I think it really was written for today. And it's actually an interrogation of the devil. And in the book, he says, you can determine if I'm speaking, you can choose whether you think I'm speaking to the real devil or the imaginary devil. But what he's talking about is the pervasiveness of fear and how it holds us back. And what you're talking about is fear. People are fearful and therefore they are paralyzed and they are not taking action. So first you have to identify where that fear is coming from. And in the book, he takes on every taboo ever, politics, religion, education, sex, alcohol, food, every one of them. He leaves no stone unturned. And he talks about as a child, we have things happen to us that build in this blockade of fear that impacts us when we're adults. And sometimes we don't even know it. For instance, he talks about religion. He says, did you learn your religion through fear or through faith? Now that one, it kind of blew me away because I literally grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. And my minister would be at the pulpit, fire and brimstone, and definitely teaching religion through fear. Mm-hmm. And yet my youth minister taught us through the love of God and just joyfulness. So it would really hit home because I had both. I remember having both and how that can impact us growing up. And then he talks about money. And certainly in my practice, what I teach people is we grow up because we're not teaching our kids about money in school, learning about money at home. And you've heard the phrase, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. That's because we're learning it from home. And if we really want to level a playing field for every child to have equal opportunity, we need to teach money in school. Because when we're growing up, I challenge all of you to think about what did your parents say about money? It doesn't grow on trees. We need to pinch our pennies. We need to save for a rainy day. We can't afford it. So you're growing up and you're hearing all these comments, money negative, money negative, money negative. No wonder we grow up afraid we're never going to have enough money. And then when we reach a certain level of success, we're afraid we're going to lose it. So once you can identify where that came from, this world of scarcity is inside us, and we can release it and realize we truly do live in a world of abundance. And for those people that are feeling like, I just don't know where the opportunities are. Well, right now, with the way the world is situated, there are thousands of affiliate programs. So if there's a product you believe in, you can go out there and you can help start promoting that product, become an affiliate and get immediate cash flow while you determine what business you want to start. You may still have a job, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not what you do for your paycheck that's important. It's what you do with your paycheck. And you can start a part-time job on the side. Don't get a second job. Start a part-time business so that you can start generating an asset that can hopefully grow to the point where you end up making more money from that than you do from your job. It's all up to you to make those choices. But if you're paralyzed and you're not doing anything and you're being negative, read this book because it's going to help you determine how to get out of that fear. It talks about definiteness of purpose. What is your passion? What is it that you want out of life? Learning from adversity, right? We all have stuff. We all have mistakes that we make. Did you learn from it or did you let it define you? Mistakes are an occurrence, not a definition. Mm-hmm. So learn to learn from that. And then understand the environment you're in. Are you hanging out with the right people that are challenging you to be successful? Or are you hanging out with people that just kind of like drift through life? They're not driving for a purpose. And how do you spend your time? The last couple of months, have you been, couch surfing, binging on Netflix, or have you been working on your business instead of just in your business, positioning yourself? Because right now, the greatest companies of all times were started during the Great Depression. Well, we're back there again. The greatest companies will come from this. So are you going to be at the top of the wave, or are you going to be capsized? And at the end of the day, you don't have to do it alone. Business is a team sport. You have the power of association I teach in everything that I do. The personal success equation, which is, you can go to personalsuccessequation.com and download a free gift for me. It talks about your passion and your talent. Now, my passion actually came from anger because I was mad we weren't teaching kids about money in school. And my talent was my accounting background and all my publishing experience. Most of us stop there thinking we have to do it on our own. But that P plus T is just the beginning. Or followed by a times A. And that A is the power of association. Who is on your team? Who's your mentor? The stats are there. If you have a mentor, you're going to be more successful than if you don't. Who's on your team? Do you have people on your team who are strong where you are weak? Do you have advisors? All of that is so important to be successful. Times another A, which is taking the right action. How many times do we know we're supposed to do something and we know what we're supposed to do? We just don't do it. I bet a few of you are busted. I know I have that issue all the time. And then the last element of the personal success equation is plus F, and it's faith. Having faith in yourself. And that's a big one. Having faith in what you're doing, that it's needed and necessary. Having faith that you will succeed. And when you have that faith, it carries you through the negative times. And the other thing that carries you through the negative times are those associations that you have. We all have ups and downs, but when you have a team, together you rise. And that faith is there. Most of us, that F is fear. So we need to focus on the fear, turn it to energy, and turn it to self-confidence. And you do that by your passion, your talent, right association, taking the right action, and having faith in yourself. Personalsuccessequation.com.
Personalsuccessequation.com. Awesome. I'm going to definitely put that in the link for everyone there. I read that book when it first came out, and it's been many years, and I'm definitely going to go back to it because, this conversation here, when you said think back about when you're growing up and what the relationship with money was, it's interesting how those memories maybe I didn't have them over the last 20 years, but this whole pandemic and this economic collapse brought all those memories back. And those fears became reality again. And it's like almost having fear and faith. Well, right? You have fear on one shoulder and you have faith on the other. And, your fear is going to constantly try to pull you back. And it's going to you're going to start remembering, muscle memory, all those negative feelings that you had before. And
you're not good enough.
Yeah.
You're not good enough. You're not an expert. Or right now, in the last 15 minutes, easy for her to say, right?
Yes.
You're real easy at pushing it off.
Yeah. And everyone's saying, yeah, of course, she's Sharon Lechter. Yeah, of course, rich dad, poor dad. But we're all affected by it. And I think that's important. I think especially during this unique time, there's fear driven everywhere. But I love the fact that we have the ability within ourselves to change that, to go out there and make a difference moving forward. And remember that this is a pivotal moment in someone's life to make a difference for them and their family.
And right now, there's so many people, as I said, the trifecta of fear. You've got this element of isolation. So I'm really worried about it. There's so many people that have been alone and suffering. We are not we weren't supposed to be alone. So it's important to reach out to people, and particularly with tomorrow being Mother's Day, there's probably a lot of moms that aren't going to be with their kids because of the separation of miles or time or space. And you reach out to the moms that and give them a little love. A virtual hug is really important. But you're right. You talk about this, it brings back all those childhood negativities. And one of the big things that I'd like to share is we can't, the phrase "we can't afford it," because right now a lot of people are feeling that way. And growing up, you probably heard it. And when you say we can't afford it, it's a negative statement and it closes down your mind. And so I say, value the choice of your words. Instead of saying we can't afford it, just turn it into a question and say, how can we afford it? Do you feel the difference? Because when you ask the question, how can we afford it? It opens your mind to the possibilities.
Mhm.
It also triggers your entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
And for all of you that are parents, are you saying the same thing to your children?
Mm.
We can't afford it. Instead, ask them, okay, John, or okay, Mary, you want that. What can you do? How can you earn the money to buy that? And it's amazing how creative they've become. Amazing how they can come up with ways to get what they want. And what you will see in the interim is an increase in their self-esteem right in front of you, because too many of us have stopped doing this with our children. Let them set a goal, let them work to achieve it, and then celebrate. That's how they build self-confidence. That's how they move forward.
That's powerful.